Hello and welcome back. In this practical walkthrough, we are going to implement this design which we have discussed in the previous lecture. So to do that, we will use Visual Studio Community to open the source code for the client rat and implement this system. So this is the existing code where we left off in the previous lessons, where we have existing simple commands to say hello in the message box and also to beep the sound. So now we have to add another else statement here to capture those commands which does not consist of say hello, say bye or beep. So to do that, we will write an else statement here, and then we will need to call another kind of function here that will accept the commands that doesn't fall into any of the above categories. So to do that, we need to create a new file, a new class. So right click here, and then we're going to add a new class here, add, and then add class. And then for this class, we will call it commands. Click add. After clicking add, you will find a new file has been added to your solution, to your project, which is called commands.cs. So this commands.cs is where we are going to implement the function that will be able to execute all those commands in a command prompt. So to create a command prompt, go and download this source code from the resource section for this lecture and open this text file. Copy everything from here and then paste it into this file to replace everything here. So let me explain how this thing works. So in here, we are creating a new class called commands, and it has got one function called run. The run function accepts one parameter, a string, command to run. So when you call this run function, it will pass a command that you want it to execute. It will then try to execute it inside a try-catch block. A try-catch block is necessary in order to capture any exceptions that can happen. Without a try-catch block, whenever an exception occurs, you will crash the program. But a try-catch block will catch the execution and prevent it from crashing, and then will just return an error message to inform the user that something has gone wrong, rather than to crash the program. So inside the try-catch block, we will create a new string called return string, which will store the result of the execution. And then we use the process class to create a process CMD object. So this process CMD object will contain the CMD exe. And CMD exe is actually your command prompt. This command prompt. So this command prompt is actually CMD exe. So when we are doing this, it means that we are programmatically creating the CMD. So the parameters for the process command are as follows. The attributes to the process command are as follows. For the start info file name, you must specify the process, the command that you want to execute. In this case, it's the CMD exe. And here you specify the information arguments, the start info arguments. These are the parameters that the command exe will run. This is also trying to mimic the behavior of the CMD exe. For example, when you type dir, this dir will be your command parameter here, CMD to run. So if you pass dir to the function CMD to run here, we will store this dir. And the dir will be passed here as the argument for the process command. The /c here is to tell the program to close the CMD exe once it's finished processing your commands. And then here we have to set shall execute to false, otherwise it will pop up this window. And then here create no window, set it to true, so you don't want to show this window. Working directory, set it to the current directory wherever this program is running. And redirect standard output true because there is no window to show. So we don't want the output to go to the window. Redirect standard error also set to true, again for the same reason. There is no window to show, the output, so you redirect it. So when you redirect it, that means you are going to save it to a string, this string here. So after that, you start the process command calling the start function, and then here is where you capture the standard output to a string and capture the standard error to a string. So standard error and standard output are the outputs of this process. So you have to redirect it this way. So once you redirect it to the return string, return string will contain the result of the execution of the cmd exe over the parameter. So if you were to run this run function and pass it the dir command, this return string will store the result of the dir. So in this case here, supposing the dir were to run, it will produce all this result. So all this result will be stored in the return string. That is the meaning of this append here. Plus equals means append. So you're appending the output to the return string. And then finally you return the string to the caller of this function. So how do we call this? We can call it from here, the else part. All we need to do is give the name of the class that you want to call, which in this case is commands, put a dot there and type run, and then pass the parameter cmd from server. So this cmd from server is this string here, which you download from the PHP, the result of the execution of the PHP script. So now we pass this command from server to this function run, which comes from the command class. This is the commands class. So let's save it now and then let's build it. So we rebuild Redboard client, and then after we have rebuilt it, we can go to the program project folder and retrieve the new Redboard. So now we can run it. So now it's waiting for a command. We'll go to our server. I've already started my web server and I've connected to the web server at this control server PHP script. Now I'm going to type command dir and then I'm going to hit execute and see what happens to here. So I type execute and then it receives the dir command here. Okay, it doesn't show anything, so we need to modify to show something so that we can see. So go back to our code here, just add one more line here. So add one more line here, string return result. You can call it return result or any other name which you prefer. And then we will console write out console.write line. So now it should be able to print out to the console the result of the execution. So let's rebuild it again, save it and rebuild it. And then we will run it again. Come back to our Red client, type dir and then click execute and you see the result coming out. So this one is coming from the console write line here. It shows you the result of the execution. Alright, now let's try to say bye, execute, and it should pop up a goodbye message. Okay, so the goodbye message is coming from here, say bye. So if let's say the command doesn't fall into any of the above category, then it will come here and run this. you will pass it to your commands.run. Commands.run is your CMD shell. CMD shell will execute it and return the string, and the string will return here, and we store the result of the string in this variable red result, and then we console write out. Okay, so in this instance here, the result of the execution is stored in this string. In the next practical walkthrough, I'm going to show you how to send this result to the server, so that your web server will be able to receive this result, and then when the result is being received, your result can be shown inside a browser. At the moment, the result is still with the client doesn't send the result back yet. So for that, I'll see you in the next practical walkthrough. Thank you for watching.